Oh, hey everyone, welcome to our September community meeting for Steeltoe. We have a few members of the community here. We're gonna discuss about any feedback or any upcoming features that we'd like to see. Also, we have some general announcements about plans for releases and things and events. So yeah, let's get started. Today we have with us Chris. And I thought it'd be cool to hear about how their company and how he's trying to use Steeltoe with the challenges that his company is facing. So I'll turn it over to Chris.
Hi there. Thanks for passing it over to me. So I haven't gotten, and so I've got a couple of NDAs I've got signed, so I don't know how much detail I can talk about. I work at a company named Infuse, and we are a consultancy, and we do quite a lot of web projects. And so I'd like to take some of like the legacy ways of using C# and kind of migrate it over to, and use Steeltoe. So for the last just a few weeks, I've been getting up to speed on it. So probably members of the community saw a couple of questions that might have seemed kind of dumb and newbie on some of the GitHub pages, as I've been just doing some of the examples, getting up to speed on it, seeing like a error message here and there. So I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, very glad that you're using, and yeah, I would like to help you with any particular problems you have. And of course, there's the Steeltoe community Slack that we are responsive to and we listen to all the time. So if you have any questions or things like that, you can go ahead and post them there. And of course, any bugs and issues, GitHub is the place to report bugs and issues. So with that, I guess we'll just go to some general announcements. And first is that Steeltoe 3.2.1 was released on end of July, and mostly bug fix type issues. Obviously, it's a patch release. And upcoming, we have another patch release. And one of the notable things is the structured message processing logger. Basically, when people were using structured logging, we did not also have it adding the message processing piece. So this is how things are working at the moment. Obviously, in later versions, this whole area with logging is set up for a lot of change. When we originally built this, it was .NET, very early versions of .NET Core, and so there's a lot of changes in the framework, and so we'll have to adapt to that. Again, that's an area for feedback, to receive feedback, and also any new features we'd like to add there. And the next major release is the 4.0 release, and at this time we're looking at major theme is maintenance, especially around how we deal with configuration and things like eye options for throughout the code base, adding things like more instrumentation in areas like messaging and streams. And again, some housekeeping work. So package names will be changing because we decided to drop the base core convention that we had, and it kind of predated the place where we were targeting framework and core applications. And in the later versions of Steeltoe, we stopped doing that, specifically 3.x and 4 and so forth. So that's for upcoming releases. Is there anything else, Tim, in that area?
I think that was the bulk of it. I mean, we could talk about one of the main features in Steeltoe 4.0 is going to be a major refactoring of connectors. That work is probably going to start in the next week or so. For anyone who's looked at the connectors code base, it's convoluted. It's very complicated. There's a fair bit of power there, but it's just really hard to do maintenance there. So we're going to try and revisit the whole thing, see if we can more cleanly split the configuration aspect of it in terms of like reading from your environment and building connection strings and the piece of actually managing those values as connection strings and working with the objects that consume those connection strings. So for example, you think about a Redis connection multiplexer that's going to typically read configuration at startup, and then that's kind of it. It exists for the lifetime of the application. If you need to change those values, you have to restart your application. We're going to see if there's any way we can maybe reload that dynamically so that when you're in a Kubernetes environment with cloud native service bindings and the config file changes out from under you while the app is running, potentially we can pick that up in real time and have your application continue running with the new credentials.
Awesome. Well, I guess that's that about upcoming releases. And of course, there's new events and coming up that we need to pay attention to. And one is Hacktoberfest is next month. The .NET Tanzu Developer Center has always new content, and that's coming up. And Spring One will have our own .NET.
Hey, on the Tanzu Developer Center, I don't think we previously discussed that in this venue. So there is some Steeltoe content in there. There's a lot more Tanzu content. That landing page for .NET content is new in the Tanzu Developer Center. So that is something that we have not previously called out here before.
I'm trying to go there so we can maybe take a quick look at it. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I've seen this before, but it's cool. So yeah, we just really want to make the .NET developer experience really amazing on any of the Tanzu offerings. So yeah, so that's the Tanzu Developer Center. And yeah, the other big thing that's coming up is Spring One in December. And yeah, we'll have our own .NET Day with lots of .NET content and workshops. So that's something that you want to take a look at and see if you can attend in person. It is in person this year, again, finally. And so, yeah, there's going to be a crush of bookings because it's not just .NET, it's also all of the VMware and the Tanzu and the Java folks and everybody. So there'll be a lot of competition for the rooms and stuff. So you probably want to get your rooms and everything approved and booked. So yeah, so again, to engage with us, I think there's open good first issues that people, if you're not super familiar with Steeltoe and don't have a lot of context, can get started on your own. And we want to invite more community contribution because there's just so much work to do. So there's the only way we can have a successful project is with lots of contributions. And so we did have, at least in this release, I think, some contributions from the community. Well, I won't go there right now, but yeah, we want to help people and make it a priority to help people contribute to our code base. And there's of course the help wanted issues. Those are good places to start.
We'll be revisiting those in the next couple of weeks to make sure that we're ready for Hacktoberfest. So there should hopefully be more issues that are identified as help wanted. And we'll try and provide as much information to make sure that they really are ready for good first issues or people new to the project or whatever the case may be. One thing that's new for Hacktoberfest this year, I think there's an extra special focus on non-programming tasks. So they're asking for things that like documentation type issues or things where like maybe English language or whatever language skills aside from programming might be useful. So that might be a little bit different with Hacktoberfest this year.
Yeah, and that just reminds me, one of the areas of focus is, of course, we've heard lots of feedback about documentation, how things can be better, and that's something definitely we can get a lot of help. And one of the ways to help is to kind of go through some of the guides yourself. And as you go through, if you see some discrepancies in your experience to what is being presented, that'll be a good pull request, an issue, anything will really help us get better there. So we're trying to get on top of things, and that's an area of focus to make documentation like really good, because that's the first place people come to use this project. So I think that's all I have. And we can call this a wrap. So yeah, thank you for attending, and yeah, we'll continue to communicate on offline in the Slack channels.